Wrong about Vivek.
A den mother.
Ramaswamy.
What is Amy on Twitter saying she predicted Ramaswamy's? Where did she do that? Not on this show.
Sitting on the toilet at
I don't
home.
follow her on Twitter.
We are live. We are live.
Oh, I have her blocked.
Yeah.
Can't stand her self-aggrandizing tweets.
Yeah.
She's like, I predicted this. I'm like, not on the political,
You know what
political podcast you co-host with me.
You know what I get every day? I get the live show.
Yeah.
Uninterrupted, unedited.
All right, guys. So you are live. We're ready to go. To anyone who might be joining us, please share the show and comment below the video, and we'll put your comments on screen.
Gabe, it's on YouTube.
Yes, it is.
I don't know why I don't get a notification because I signed up and I did the bell and the thing. And
I might have to like redesign the page so that the live comes up. Like I thought I did it, but I'll check so that the live comes up on the front page.
There's subscribed.
I'm subscribed, yeah. How do you do the bell?
I'm subscribed.
There's
Are you seeing it?
You'll get notifications.
Yeah, but it has
Yeah,
a
there it
different
is.
But it has a different picture. How does it have a?
Oh, it's probably last week's picture.
Yeah, yeah.
You have to take a new one each time. So
I see.
I usually do it after the show. But yeah.
Subscribed.
Look, that looks like I was talking about finger cuffs back then, too.
Oh, hey,
Oh,
yep,
yeah, it
Yep.
does.
Whoop, yep.
Hey-oh.
Hey, MCN6.
Oh my God!
Main
Yes, you
topic of
were.
conversation.
Right?
Okay, I'm going to start the commercial. Have a
I
good
think
show.
people need to turn their stuff.
Oh,
that
so
was
apparently
me.
my notifications are turned off.
Turn off your computer. Yeah, that was me. That was me. Sorry.
Support for Wrong About Everything comes from Minnesota's credit unions. Credit unions are locally based, member-owned financial cooperatives that return earnings to members through higher savings rates, lower loan rates, and reduced fees. Visit mncun.org for more information.
And welcome back to another episode of Wrong About Everything. I am really looking forward to the llama costume contest. Javier Morillo.
I am wishing my wife a happy birthday and my daughter a happy first day of 8th grade, Brian McDaniel.
I am wishing Javier invited us to the llama contest, Davis Sensman.
And we are Wrong About Everything.
Everything.
It's the Great Minnesota Get Together. You don't need an invitation.
Yeah.
Amy quit. It's just in everyone.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you're wondering where Amy is.
Oh, well,
Taking open auditions.
if you've seen Amy on Twitter, she's claiming to have predicted the rise of Vivek Ramaswamy. Now, I would imagine that one place she might do that is on the political podcast she co-hosts with us.
No, she was
I
too
don't
busy
remember.
talking about
I do not remember her doing
celebrities.
that. And now she's not here to talk about him. Now. Does she have a podcast with Abu?
I don't follow her on.
Is she
social
doing
media.
another podcast right now?
That's what I'm asking. Is that? I have a prior engagement. It's my new podcast
Yeah,
with Abu
sometimes
Amara.
she is just like, oh, I don't know if I'll be there, and then doesn't answer texts.
I know where she is. She's working today.
Yeah, yeah.
But she may be here. She might not be here. It'll be it'll be a WWE style, her running in, hitting Davis with a chair. Which
I can't wait.
Which I do not endorse because Davis is lovely.
Thank you. She should hit Javier with a chair. if
No,
she's
she should
coming.
not. No, she
Again?
should not.
He's in her seat.
Well,
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. We are at the Minnesota Credit Union Network Studios. If you are not credit unioning with a credit union yet, and it does not roll off the tongue.
I know.
Does
We
not
need
roll
a
off the
good
tongue.
verb.
What is?
Oh,
what is?
finish up. I have a credit union story.
Okay, because I was just we tried to come up with a verb. It's like for bank, like
I know.
we should say something other than banking.
Yeah.
Has Ryan ever given us what the proper term is?
No, I wish he would. He also should. We were promised a fountain of chocolate at
Doing
one point.
our financiering. Anyway, finished
Well,
up.
more like we demanded it. But anyway, we're here at the Minnesota Credit Union Studios, deep within the bowels of MBC in Minneapolis. You can you still catch us on Minneapolis Public Access TV? Maybe.
Maybe.
As far as we know.
It might be.
As far as I know, I'll check again. But yes,
Yeah.
I sent it to him.
Okay.
All right, good enough for me.
Yeah, no, I will check again though. But yeah, it was late at night. But because you guys are potty mouths.
That's fine.
Potty-ish.
Yeah.
It's just a random F-bomb.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
Yeah.
So our website is done by Honey Hive Digital. And we also thank the folks at Blue Ox Media who are responsible for the billboards. Are we still on billboards? Can you check with them so we can stop thanking them?
We never know.
We should never stop thinking.
Well,
them.
okay.
But I want to thank the credit unions because we actually got an alert. My wife and I got an alert that there was fraud. Somebody was
On our account?
no, on my personal account.
Oh, that's a lot more money.
Oh no, that's real money.
But my wife called. They took care of it right away. She went in the next morning. They gave her a brand new card, in and out, quick and easy. She even sent them a thank you card because it was such a painless process. So thank you, Spire Credit Union in Eagan, Minnesota.
Jenny's going to be in one of their commercials.
Yeah.
Well,
It's like,
give me a
satisfied
call.
customer.
Give me a call, Spire.
Yes. If you have a problem in your life, and you have many, but a criminal matter,
Oh,
you should
something
call.
money can't solve.
Yeah.
Something money can't solve, you should call the lawyers at Bradshaw and Bryant. First of all, they do not represent snitches. It's important note. But more importantly, their entire team of attorneys and staff is dedicated to providing the legal advice you need, combined with the service and personal attention you deserve, unless you're a snitch. If you have questions about how they can assist you, if you're not a snitch, with a personal injury, wrongful death, or criminal defense matter, do not hesitate to contact them, except you might want to hesitate if you're a snitch. Consultations are free. You can call them at 800-770-7008 or at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
Though I think they will charge you if you're a snitch. And
Consultations
that's just a way to lure you to the office, and then they're going to turn you over to Bronco over here. It's going to take you to the train station.
Yeah, so do not do that. Yeah, that reminds me of the news. We were just talking about this, that as I walked in, I saw news that Russia says that the plane that killed Prigozhin might have been brought down purposefully.
Could be.
And it's like the serial killer being asked about the bodies in the yard. Be like, well, that sounds suspicious.
You know what?
That
Putin,
looks suspicious.
You know what Putin's response was?
What?
Did I do that?
Okay, that's
He's a fan of Steve Urkel.
Well, they just got it over there. It's new to them.
yeah.
Oh, man.
So last week we previewed the Republican debate because it was that evening. Since then, it's Vivek Momentum.
Well,
Ramaswamy.
here's what I would say about Vivek. I mean, I think that his momentum started before this.
Yeah.
And if you kind of like look at on X or Twitter or Threads, whatever that's called now. The some of the people, and I take some comfort in this. I still think I agree with you guys. I think it's going to be Trump, barring him from running. He's going to be the nominee. But a lot of people who I knew last cycle, presidential cycle, that were very, very strong Trump people, I've seen many of them be very strong Vivek Ramaswamy people this time. And while Ramaswamy always kind of intrigues me until he says, well,
Till he talks.
what do you say? He said, climate change isn't real. Well, that's not really the argument. You can argue around some of the edges, but and then and we'll get into this, and then with some of his views on foreign policy, it's like, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. But I am at least encouraged that there are some cracks in the Trump coalition, and some people are at least actively trying to find another candidate. They might fall in line or fall in love, but they're at least trying to find somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, I think what was clear from the debate was, I think, like before the debate, I didn't see what is the path for anyone who's not Trump to become the nominee. And we saw what it was. It was someone who will stand on stage and say Trump was the best president of the 21st century, who pushes everyone to say that they will pardon Trump, who is basically Trump without being Trump, and who in the end will be Trump's vice president.
Yeah, which Trump has said he's open to.
Yeah, I think that he would have a hard time picking anybody that is currently in the list of people that are going after him a little bit. But I mean, if it's anybody, he would pick someone like this who I think will change their views, because they don't have a record, so it's a hell of a lot easier to say, oh no, I've always kind of been.
But he's not like, the reason I could see him picking Vivek is because because Ramaswamy's out there saying he's the best president ever, and the reason I think Ramaswamy
it's so weird. It's so weird how they're all like, he's so great. Well, then stop running.
Well, but Ramaswamy at least has a coherent argument. He's great, but he has too much baggage, and so we need someone who's going to continue his crazy ass policies. He is where like vast majorities of the Republican Party are on a whole host of issues. So like on Ukraine, like it was just he and Ron DeSantis were on the other side of the other seven. But and Nikki Haley was saying you don't know foreign policy and it shows and yada yada yada, and also I listen to all the, not all the, but to some Never Trumper podcasts like the Bold Work and stuff, and they are like, so it's very proper people. It's like country club Republicans who are very upset about where the party has gone, and they kind of talk, and they say things like, well, I was appalled every time he spoke, which guarantees that he's going to win.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's just be honest. You know, the GOP-E, you know, the establishment, which, you know, throw me in there. You know, they're not.
Is that something they call? That's what you guys call GOPP?
It was
GOP.
GOPE, but it's a lowercase e for it to be an establishment. And I think that they think that that's an insult, and I don't feel insulted by it. But no, I mean, you know, we're not in fashion right now. We're not winning. You know, the intra-party squabbles, and you know, that's kind of why our party is super divided, and it's not going to change anytime soon.
But like, one of the questions they asked was, how many would you support Donald Trump, even if convicted?
That was so sad watching them all be like, I guess so.
Ron DeSantis and the Trump people immediately put out a little video of like Ron DeSantis. I mean, I think that kills. Like, he's dead. He's done.
DeSantis,
yeah. He's toast. That alone, just like you can't pick a lane.
Yeah.
And then screwed, what's his name? The guy from New Jersey.
Chris
Christie. Your whole reason for being in the race is to punch up on Trump, and then you answer yes to that question?
And then he said, oh no, I was waving my friend. And it's like, just shut up, Chris Christie. Just shut up. Go close a beach.
And Mike Pence is like, you know, I'll give being hung a second consideration.
Sure. You know,
maybe I was too hasty.
You know, that's a man who lives his faith.
Yeah.
He's turning the other cheek.
Trump tried to kill both of them. Like, he gave Chris Christie, who has so many comorbidities, COVID, like, intentionally. Yeah. And then they literally tried to hang Pence, and Pence is like, okay, all right.
And Trump's like, well, you know, maybe he should have stood up.
You know what? You can have your principles or be president. And that's sad. It's very sad. I mean, you know where I am on that.
Yeah.
I would send money to the viable candidate that just set everything on fire.
So let me tell you what, like, my other thought about the debate that I think, like, that scared the shit out of me, like 11 p.m. On late night TV.
Oh, okay.
Just saying. So it ends up. Ramaswamy is the one that Trump's going to like. He actually praised him after the debate and said, like, you know, to him saying he's the best president of the 21st century. The establishment will come full force on Trump, be like that's like, this guy's a 9/11 truther. Yeah. Like, he has like, and he wants to defund like U.S. out of Israel. Like, it's like too much. And who the nominee, the vice presidential nominee, will be Nikki Haley, because she has no principles.
This is your fear.
This is my fear, and I think what may happen. And then the race becomes, because of Joe Biden's age and Donald Trump's conviction, prison, not determination,
not his sticking to his guns,
not his sticking. That the race becomes like, who do we want to be the first woman president? And on that, I think you guys win, actually.
Well, I mean, I will stop short of saying that Nikki Haley doesn't have principles. I would support Nikki Haley. I think she hasn't been perfect.
That's what I said.
What? You said she didn't have principles.
I know.
I was stopping short of that.
I know. Then you said you'd support her.
I would. Well, yeah, you're right. But anyway, no, I guess we'll have to see. I mean, I'm not.
I mean, she sounded the most sane out of all.
Well, and
people.
she knows what she's talking.
And she's about to get a shit ton of money because establishment Republicans seen that debate stage. Everybody like, well, Tim Scott was. Like it's like he sent a hologram instead of showing up himself. He was busy somewhere. DeSantis was doing a no harm. And that very weird smile. Please don't. Oh God, you do that very well. It's very creepy.
Gross.
Yeah.
And so the money is gonna. I think Nikki Haley's next finance report is gonna be
well,
banging.
If the number of texts that I receive asking for money is indicative of anything, Nikki Haley is going to have a lot of money because I get texts every day, and I'm not getting texts from many of the other ones.
Are you giving her money when she asks?
I haven't yet.
Okay.
She hasn't. I don't. Like I said, I don't know who's viable.
He's on that very short list of possibly still sane Republicans. So they're like, hit it again. Just hit it again.
Also, he's got a lot of money. She should be calling you.
Why is that pertinent to all this?
Because you have
I told you I had fraud. It could all be gone.
You have enough
You had
money
fraud that Spire took care of. So you had no fraud.
Oh, I think Putin took it and used it to buy that missile that he sent at the other dude.
Yeah, I mean, to me, and then so his your presumptive nominee. I
stopped correcting you on that.
we have a court date.
Yeah.
It's on the
Super
birthday.
Tuesday.
It's on the birthday of John Stiles and Tina Smith.
Oh.
Yeah, they were
present.
They were cheersing over it yesterday or the day before, whenever that was announced. And the mugshot blew up Etsy.
Oh my God!
It blew up Etsy. Everyone's like hawking.
That's a look I give when they tell me that it's after 10:30 at McDonald's at breakfast.
No, I've seen that look on you, and it's when your tummy's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's when the rest of us need to run.
He practiced that for
100%. 100%.
But what is the purpose? Why does that work? Why does that work?
Because for years your party fed a crazy base and kept making, and the crazier it got, the more it fed it, and that is Frankenstein's monster, and now you don't know what to do with it. That's why. That's what happened. Sorry.
Shouldn't have done that.
Sorry.
I thought you knew.
Sorry.
So now I saw something that said, a question by a nerdy lawyer who said, who owns the copyright to this mugshot?
I would assume it's public domain because it's a government thing,
right?
It's
because it becomes public because they put it out.
I think anyone could do anything. So there's late breaking news that a federal judge on Wednesday held Rudy Giuliani liable in a defamation suit brought by 2 Georgia election workers. And this is he was found liable because he didn't comply with the discovery request. And then he said, listen, I'm just gonna stop fighting this because I don't have enough. He didn't have enough money to be able to comply with the discovery request because they had to go through all his communications. Yeah. And he's like, but if I give you all this, you'll see all the things I said.
Right. And so if I just give it to you, I am guilty.
Yeah. So and he's ordered to pay damages. This is.
It's for that Georgia election worker and her mom.
Yeah.
Who he and the president both said were criminals, and she handed her a ginger mint, and they tried to say, look, she's giving her a
drive,
thumb drive to do what with? There's a paper copy of each ballot. They're picturing it like that scene in what is that movie with us Martians? Independence Day, where they put in the disc and it fits because it was Mac, and that's what the aliens use. She's just has a random jump drive. Where do I stick it? Try it.
This is the key. So that happened. This last week we also had terrible news out of Florida, Jacksonville, the racist shooting there, and it's. To me, what was so one of the things that was passed in the Florida legislature last year was this vaguely stated thing about not talking about racism or race in ways that make people feel uncomfortable, which is like essentially white students. I'm like, I'm curious whether they're going to be able to talk about a racist shooter in Florida and actually stay within the rules of it's just a horrific shooting. And Ron DeSantis, when he went to a vigil, was booed because...
As he should be. I mean, he loosened gun laws and he said, we're not going to talk about racism or oppression of black people. And then you say these things. I mean, I took sociology as a major in undergrad. The first thing you learn is, here's how you oppress another people. Here's how you take advantage of another people. Here's how you do it. You dehumanize them. And like, that's what we're seeing from like Ron DeSantis with black folks in Florida. We see it with other leaders with like trans and queer people. You dehumanize them to the point where other people will do it for you. Yeah. Other people will be like, okay, that sounds good.
And then pretend that nothing to do with it. So that's fun. We're just jamming through. You don't have a whole lot to say, do you?
My throat hurts.
He's still thinking about his presumptive nominee.
My throat hurts and my party's indefensible.
Some parts of it, not all of it.
Well, you're welcome to bring up any of the parts that are.
I'm not going to interject myself into something that horrible and talk politics in favor of DeSantis or not. I think when politicians go to these things, they kind of deserve what they get. Because anyway, if the family doesn't invite you, you shouldn't go.
Right.
Yes.
Right. I mean,
that's right or left, right or blue.
But there are important roles that politicians can play in moments like this for like to lead in healing, and that's why I think it often is important. But often, right, you do go with the invitation But, like just reminder that Florida is a state that the NAACP in Florida declared a state of emergency for its residents. So, like, there are a lot of racial tensions there. So, here we are. So we're just speeding through, which is good for me because I am on my way to the
gonna go see llamas.
Llama contest, the llama costume contest. I said this on a work call today, and I'm like, yeah, it's the llama costume contest at the state fair, and then I was talking about said something else about the llamas, and people were like, oh wait, it's llamas. They thought it was people dressed as llamas. Like, no, it's llamas dressed as
whatever.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was people dressed as llamas.
Oh no, it's actual llamas.
Like,
you've never seen
right
it
now.
Oh my God!
In fact, you saw my hand was up. I was going to ask.
Oh no!
I haven't paid a lot of attention to it, and I think
it's one of the most popular things at the fair in recent years.
It very well could be. I'm saying that I largely didn't know, and in fact, and this is not a joke nor trying to be, I think I told somebody you were participating in it. I legitimately thought you were.
He could be, because each llama has a human handler who often is also in a coordinating costume.
When have you known me to be someone involved in animal husbandry?
He didn't know it was
you
animal
husbandry. You just told me earlier today about how your dog impregnated all the dogs in your neighborhood. Not your current dog.
Not my current dog. Or childhood dog.
Or just current neighborhood.
Yes, but that, again, not relevant.
Is it llama or llama?
It depends where you
what
are.
Country.
Well, we're not in the highlands of Peru, so we're to say llama. Right. But no, we're going to. So, in Minnesota news, there's a fight in Minneapolis.
Oh, holy shit!
Oh, Minneapolis.
Oh, there you go. MCNC.
It was 11 p.m.
11 p.m.
Yeah.
Before the Kojak reruns. Nobody knows what I just talked about.
Nobody knows.
Who loves you, baby?
Yeah. So this started out because Councilmember Robin Wansley did an interview with Unicorn Riot, the online citizen journalists and kind of guerrilla journalists. They're very cool. I like them. Did an interview where she said that the mayor has threatened her and threatens council members with fewer public services or policing in their wards if they don't go along with her. And then the mayor put out a statement calling that a lie. The mayor's allies on the council said that's not true, called it disinformation. The thing that I would like that to me what is interesting about this, that I wish journalists would take up on. So the city voted for this strong mayor amendment. So and one of the things that it does is like that actually prohibits the council from having direct access to department heads and to departments. I have heard from council members myself that some of them, to do constituent services, they need to call the 311 number because they can't get meetings directly with them or get questions resolved. And further, that when they do get meetings, that a mayor's aide, this mayor, like the most recent one, Edwin, a little shit, has to be present. I think that, like, rather than covering the spat between Rob and Wansley, and let me be clear, I 100% believe her because I've been on the tail end of the mayor threatening, and many people I know have, and I don't think that his behavior is probably any different with advocates and others than with council members. Yeah. And withholding of policing is what MPD does all the time. Hello. Like that's how they get their way, and so it all seems perfectly to me believable. I think some of the council members who are staying quiet it's actually a product of that fear that there are repercussions. But I wish journalists would look at what are the ramifications. How does it actually work? This now 2 years after for the strong mayor system, because there is an impact on constituent services, on the ability of council members to represent their constituents, and that's what I wish they were talking about now, instead of all kind of running for cover and either choosing to participate or not in the in the fight between Wansley and the mayor.
And I'm gonna push back only because not on your point about what journalists should cover, but the Star Tribune gave Councilmember Wansley an opportunity to say, this is when he said it, this is how he said it, this is where, and she didn't respond. Her colleagues on the council, one of them, Michael Rainville, came out and said it's embarrassing to be serving with somebody who can't tell the truth. The police stuff, obviously, we know that there are lots of trouble with the MPD and all that, but on the trash collection, this isn't The Wire. This isn't a TV show where the mayor snaps his fingers and all these things happen. So if this did happen, it's extraordinarily serious, and more than one council member should say it. And if that one council member,
I completely agree with you.
Yeah,
if that one council member, obviously, I'm not saying she needs video, she needs audio, because whatever. But what I'm saying is that if it happened on a Tuesday, you should say it happened on a Tuesday. If it happened, at 4:00, you gotta say it happened at 4:00, because to me, obviously not being in the middle of any of it, it didn't ring true. It sounded like somebody talking out their ass, and now it went too far. So if it happened, you don't have to prove it, but you probably need to participate and back up your words a little bit, and that's 100% not happening.
Yeah.
And I guess it's not illegal what she did, but the council needs to decide if the council thinks this was a lie, then they should deal with it internally, because it's very serious. If it's not a lie, then they need to deal with whoever made a threat and deal with that, because that is very serious.
Yeah, I think it was, if you're gonna make because the bottom line is now the mayor gets to play the victim, and it's like, if you're gonna do something like that, yeah, I agree with you, Javier. I don't doubt that probably something was said, but I feel like when shit like that happens, you got to go back, you got to take your notes, you got to write down what happened, and then you need to coordinate with other people. You need to say, hey, if I'm gonna talk about this, are you gonna back me up?
Right.
Yep. And I think you really have to have it planned out, or else you end up kind of putting your colleagues and the folks who support you in this position that some of them are in, where it's like, and what happens is then your coalition that you had, can be kind of fractured, because then the mayor used Councilmember Chavez, he said, he put it in his response. He said, as Councilmember Chavez said, that never happened. And it's like, well, I think actually what Councilmember Chavez said is, it didn't happen to me.
Right.
And I think that's what some of them chose their words carefully. Some of them, like Michael Rainville, were like, it's hard to deal with someone who won't tell the truth. It's like, well, yeah, it's also hard to deal with someone who villainizes an entire race of people like you did once, Michael Rainville, but here we all are. Yeah. But I think you really have to plan it out. I think you have to be way more calculated.
What day did he villainize a whole race of people? What
this
time?
was in the Star
Somali
Tribune.
people. Yeah, it was in the Star Tribune.
Well, I've closed debate.
All right, Mayor.
Yeah.
But I think you just have to you're going to have specifics if you're going to make a claim like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And my guess is that she was speaking to like a friendly outlet and clearly was not prepared for like
it to get
for it to like and that's just naive and a mistake. But again, what I will say to the Star Tribune and any other reporters listening, that they're very real, legitimate issues, and I have heard directly from council members, some of whom are very quiet right now, about these kinds of threats that they get from the mayor's office. So there is more to dig. I certainly understand why in an election year people make decisions, about being cautious, things like that. But when a council member, when there's a difference between council members who support the mayor and have direct access to department heads, and those who do not being able to have direct access and having to call 311, I think that's worth reporting on. Not that we'll ever see it reported on, not at least by the Star Tribune. But yeah, we just plowed through the news. What's that? We just plowed through the news. Yeah. So let's. You got anything?
Evidently, Amy
takes up a lot of space.
Talks a lot.
We didn't have our weekly segment on what celebrities were here stealing our water.
That's true. She did put something in the.
Councilmember Wansley told me that it's Jacob Fry stealing our water.
Yeah. But you got anything to plug?
Just every Tuesday, Amy and I are on the BS Show with Bob Sansevier. You can find us wherever you find your favorite podcast, or in Greater Minnesota, parts of it at least. It is a radio program. And I also want to plug that next week I start teaching again at Concordia University St. Paul. So I'm super excited about that.
Oh, nice. Got anything to plug? Davis Means Business?
No, just that's where you can find me.
Yes. We have, I'm going to give everyone cut some slack, because if you had any spare money, you probably spent it at the fair.
State fair.
And really, between us and a pork chop on a stick, I would choose.
Or llamas in costume.
Or llamas, I would choose the llamas and the pork chops. But next week, all bets are off. Mm-hmm. Next week, we're back to the old rule that if you can afford it and you enjoy what you listen to, we come here week after week. If you could throw a few bucks our way, we would genuinely appreciate it. Patreon.com/wrongaboutEverything podcast. We really do appreciate those of you who contribute and who are able to, and for those of you who can but don't, you're kind of being a dick, and you should rethink that after the state fair.
After your fair budget.
After your fair budget, yes.
Also, we're keeping your money safe if you're keeping it in a credit union. So
right, yeah. See, so thanks. Who wants to go first? Spank Amy.
I need to find mine. So
I can go.
All right.
Okay, so my spank. Are you ready, Gabe?
Yes, ma'am. I think I will be in 1 second.
Okay.
Yes.
I love how he's like the voice of God.
That's how I think of myself.
So my spank is we're going to see this video from a Minnesota state rep who went to Target and decided, Pam Altendorf went to Target and decided that something she was seeing was part of a great conspiracy. So roll it.
Hey everyone, this is Representative Pam Altendorf coming at you live from Red Wing, Minnesota, the great town in my district. And we're population here, I think it's just over 16,000. But I had a question for you. I'm in the Target parking lot, and for pickup, now again, this is a town of like 16,000, so it's a decent sized town. But not huge. And they had 4 pickup spots prior where, you could order online and then pick up here at Target. So there's 4. And I've never seen all of those spaces filled. I mean, given, I do admit I don't, patrol around here and look for that all the time. But there's 4 pickup spots. And now, for some reason, Target in Red Wing, Minnesota is adding onto their parking lot over here. There's 24 new pickup spots going in the parking lot. 24. So again, we went from 4, which I've never seen filled, to Target is adding 24 new spots. And it does make one question, and I hope you, the public, start to question things as well. But it does make me question, what are they planning for? And why is all of a sudden there going to be this rush of people wanting to order online and pick up groceries or pick up what they ordered here from Target outside versus, again, in the past, there's 4 pickup spots, which I don't see filled.
Right,
I'm
that's
standing
good.
in the parking lot right now. There's not a single car in one of those 4.
So and she goes on to say that she thinks that Target is going to be part of this conspiracy of additional COVID lockdowns, and she says, remember how this was. And first of all, what I want to say is, you're a state rep. Target is a company that has its headquarters in Minnesota. Go fucking ask them. Before you start making
midnight now,
before you make a conspiracy theory, because you're putting it out here, you have access to Target. She tweeted it and said, "What are you preparing for with all these new drive-up spots?" First of all, Pam, you say there are about 16,000 people in the city. Do you think maybe they had too many regular spots? Like, I assure you. Also, this is Minnesota. It gets cold. We are lazy. People would love to have Target. And then later, someone in the comments said, I think they added a Starbucks there. They're probably anticipating Starbucks orders. And I'm so sick of these Republicans who are like, hey, let's create a conspiracy and get everyone all hyped up. And it's like, great, Pam. So when someone comes into the Target, some lunatic in your area comes into the Target all hyped up about how they're conspiring with big COVID, like, it's coming back on you, Pam. And you need to stop it and just go ask. You're not Joe Schmo. You're a state rep who could say, hey, Target, I have a question.
No.
Corporate shill.
So that's my spank.
Also, some politicians, when they see businesses expanding in their district, are happy.
Yeah, get excited.
Well,
not Pam.
I thought it was weird that big businesses got to stay open when small businesses didn't. If we want to talk about that, we can. However, I'm not gonna besmirch birthday girl Jenny Beerline today, but I can't remember the last time she was inside of a Target.
Jenny, I support your right to do drive up. Why should you go in? We're probably saving money. That's what I always think.
We have a Target like right, so it's just super easy. Just zip there and zip back.
It is.
It
is very convenient.
With that being said, let's not shut everything down again. Don't do that.
I don't think
we will.
planning.
Well, we shouldn't. Good. Let's not.
Good. Yeah. No need to rile up your crazies.
Yeah. So Pam,
don't do it.
Reel it in because you're okay. And honestly, Pam, go ahead. Don't wear a mask. Don't get vaccinated. Yeah, I wish you nothing but the worst. Yeah. So my thank is for Michael Fanon, who was a former long-term Capitol police officer.
Still super hot.
Yep, very attractive.
Damn, he's hot.
And he wrote a really wonderful opinion piece for CNN talking about, here's the reason people tell me they want to buy an AR-15, because in addition to being a law enforcement officer for a long time, he also sold guns. He was like a gun salesman at different places. And he said, and it's simply ludicrous. And he goes on to talk about why people don't need to own AR-15s, and he kind of debunks every reason and every like he does an excellent job of saying, nope, let me tell you, these are just for killing, and they're you don't need them. And if banning them outright is too extreme, here's another option. And he talks about this Class 3 firearms background check. But I just thought it was really good to hear from like someone who was in law enforcement who was saying, basically, we as police officers shouldn't have to worry about people having these weapons, and certainly children shouldn't have to worry about them either. So way to go, hot officer Fanon.
Yes.
Way to dehumanize him.
No, he's smart and hot.
I am saying the opposite. That is quite the human.
All right, my turn.
Yes.
So my spank is going to be to Donald Trump Jr.
Oh.
On X.
What did his coked up ass say?
So there was a post. Somebody and this is just like the childish bull crap. See, it was down to 10 o'clock. But there was a picture of Ron DeSantis hitting a baseball, and he's wearing a sweater vest and actually, I think it was cowboy boots. I'm kind of parroting something that a friend of the show, Dustin Greggy, had on his page. But the original post was, why is Ron DeSantis playing baseball in a sweater vest and 4-inch heels? And then they show the picture. Donald Trump Jr. Then posts, is Ron DeSantis transitioning? Not Ron space DeSantis, but Rhonda, like help me Rhonda, and then Santis transitioning, which is, I'm sorry, we're going to be back at 11. You're a fucking idiot, Donald Trump Jr. Because first of all, Ron DeSantis went to what undergrad institution, Javier?
Harvard?
Yale. He went to Yale. Guess what he did there?
Drag.
What did he do?
Played baseball on the baseball
We're getting
team.
everything wrong.
Yeah, you guys, you're not good at this at all. They always say, never ask a question you don't know the answer to.
You should have really
that's my fault.
prepped
right
us.
But no, he went to Yale, which is a Division I college for baseball. He was on the baseball team.
It's not. It's Division One.
Yeah.
Yale is.
Yeah.
Since when?
D1 is
Don't
very
act
wide.
incredulous.
It's very
You have
wide.
no idea.
No, I know because
if I told you they were Division Purple, you would not be able to dispute
I'm assuming Division One is a high division.
Well, it's a big school.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yale's suck at everything when it comes to sports.
But they're part of the Ivy League section
This
of
is not the
see.
point.
Anyway,
he went to Yale. He was on the baseball team. He was the captain of the baseball team, and he hit like over 350, which is good. So,
but explain the 4-inch heels.
it was cowboy boots.
Oh, cowboy boots.
But in any event, it's embarrassing to do stuff like this, even for someone who's a bottom feeder like Donald Trump Jr. And you look like an idiot. Now you made me have to look stuff up. So I guess you're helping me expand my knowledge. But you're a tool, and he is more of an athlete, and he served in the military. He did everything that you haven't done, which is just suck at the teeth of your dad.
Minus cocaine.
Idiot. Yeah, minus cocaine. Anyway, so that's my spank, Donald Trump Jr. My thank, and Republicans, stay with me here. My thank is going to be to the Met Council. Of which, once upon a time, I was a Republican-appointed member to it. But the Met Council, 9 members of the Met Council rebelled against an 11th-hour vote on light rail project, delaying the Blue Line extension for a few weeks. One of the things that the Met Council, when people say, "Oh, let's get rid of the Met Council," I push back on it because the Met Council has a lot of features to it that municipalities across the country wish they could do. There is mission creep. Absolutely. There are things that they could do better. Absolutely. Do they need to be appointed? Yes. Do they need to be elected? No. Could they be part of another existing department? Possibly.
There's too many of them.
But let's talk about that. But what happened was members of the Met Council on a vote, they felt that they were not given enough information, that this was being this Blue Line vote was being rammed through by staff presumably, and that it had serious connections to a much bigger vote and a much bigger deal dealing with Southwest Light Rail. So, and I know that this is turned, and when it comes to Southwest Light Rail, this is not a red versus blue issue. This is something where very prominent Democrats on the Transportation Committee and otherwise have shown great disgust and trepidation with how it has been handled, how much money it is, everything else. So I'm just going to give a little bit of credit to the Met Council. Wendy Wolf, who actually successfully succeeded me on the council, had some very strong language, which I'm just going to read it and then we can move on. This is from Wendy Wolf. I've been here for 14 years. I have not seen something we're voting on that is less transparent in all those 14 years, said Wendy Wolf, council's longest serving member. If we go ahead with this, we have nothing to hold things back. We're going to be the rubber stamps that everybody thinks we are, which is a great quote. The Met Council is appointed by the governor, so this is a DFL governor appointing a council, and they did the right thing by saying we're not voting on this until we get more information. Ultimately, maybe they're going to vote for this, and maybe I'll spank them later for that. But right now, way to show some autonomy and to say no. That's all I got.
They got so many people on that. 9 to 5.
9 to 5, yeah. No, I was District 16, so I was like the last one.
Oh, so many.
So my spank this week. So last week we had guest Republicans, the Otter, Jeremy Estenson, and Senben back for the continuation of her residency. And when we talked about the case of the woman who was killed for flying a pride flag, and Davis and I both, but Davis especially, made the point that there are Republican politicians who are targeting queer folks, and that this is the impact that it has. And our Republican counterparts in last week's show said something to the fact that they didn't know any politicians who said things like, that are dehumanizing, or specifically about stuff like going after your kids, or groomers. And so to the rescue is State Representative Walter Hudson, who just a few days ago tweeted in response to another tweet. He said, "Listen, they're going to trans your kids after you lose if you think that's worth it." Okay, and the threads and his responses keep going, and his reaction to other folks is he is actively calling Democrats groomers and saying they're coming after your kids. Walter. He's desperately trying to make himself the next Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, and I don't know, become some sort of national person. But often his Twitter feed sounds like he's mistaking his mental health issues with a political platform. It's really gross, and he does it a lot. But if you're looking for someone who's in Minnesota who is an example of someone who is vilifying and dehumanizing queer people, there you go, say Representative Walter Hudson, and he's spanked. My thank is for Wyoming Republican Party Chairman Frank Eathorn. I think that's how you pronounce it. Eathorne.
Yeah, I don't know how else you'd say it.
Eathorn.
Eathorn. What seems ironic, given Mr. Eathorn does not want cowboys who eat horn, supported by the RNC. So he is very upset that the RNC has, he says, funded gay rodeos, and thinks that they should no longer fund gay rodeos.
The RNC is funding gay rodeos?
That's what he claims. I color me skeptical, but he said that Ronna McDaniel. Now I can see part of what
no relation.
What they are reacting to is that I think the RNC has funded some gay Republican groups.
Oh, so he's saying log cabin Republicans must go to the gay rodeo?
Something like I don't even know. My thing is this: have you ever been to a gay rodeo? They're fun.
I bet
they're super fun because it's all the things in a rodeo.
The rodeo's kind of gay anyway, but
very gay. It's all just dudes riding things and hot dudes riding things.
Yeah.
I love a rodeo.
Boots and spurs.
You guys are starting to make me want to subscribe to this guy's newsletter. So move it along.
Anyway, and I guess he's upset. And in fact, if you look at his picture, the dude actually looks like
he looks like he goes to the gay rodeo.
He looks like he belongs at a gay rodeo, and that might be his issue. She's funding the wrong gay rodeo. But anyway, listen, they're just fun, whatever. But I'll thank him just to show, because here's the thing: to the log cabin Republicans or anyone else taking money from Ronna McDaniel, I'll say the same thing I'll say to Ron DeSantis, who's being targeted by Don Jr. with queer baiting, by queer baiting him, it was like, yeah, it sucks, doesn't it? It really sucks. And to log-cat Republicans and others like who are being targeted by other Republicans, just say like the party hates you. Like how many ways do you have to learn this? The party hates
to the
you.
rodeo.
Yeah, and they don't even want you to go to the rodeo, which is just plain fun. Yeah, I'm going to go to a gay rodeo right now. It's called the State Fair.
It's true.
I lost interest in the patriarchy when I found out it wasn't about horses. Yeah, I saw the movie.
And with that, I am Democratic strategist, the Puerto Rican heat, and llama lover, Javier Murillo.
I am conservative strategist and Knuff, Brian McDaniel.
I am small business attorney, David Sensman.
And we are wrong about everything. Take us away, Gabe.
Here, look, this is what the llama, see?